You know, normally when you watch videos in a gallery setting, you walk into a dark room and something's already playing and you're coming in the middle, or if you're lucky, you're coming in at the beginning, and you're really at the mercy of whoever edited the piece. You know, you have to follow their lead and follow their sequencing, and you watch it from beginning to end. And I sort of wanted to break that open and let the viewer be more in control. And if I sort of had loosely woven together vignettes that were tied together by mood and by various characters and by the landscape that they all share, then the viewer could, at their own pace, put together their own storyline or lack of a storyline, deeper meaning, a mood, ambiance, whatever, in the way that people look at paintings rather than watch video. So, and specifically, like, to do that in this space, which already has so much character. You know, it already implies. You know, it's not a anonymous room. So if I could just float videos in here and let them interact with each other and interact with the space, then maybe I could get people to sort of stroll through and take a tour of this as if they had, you know, they were inside a film or someone else's thought process. So we started shooting these little musical sequences after my dad would get off work. He's a car salesman in Norman, Oklahoma, at a Ford dealership, and he would give me a call when he was wrapping up and everyone else had left, and I would take my video camera and his guitar and go out there, and we'd set up and shoot 2 or 3 songs in the showroom. Not really knowing where that was going, or, you know, but just sort of trying it out. And after looking at, well, 1, his song choices, and 2, just the strangeness of, you know, a middle-aged man alone in a, you know, shiny car showroom playing old country songs, you know. It sort of started to act for me as a possible chorus for a potential story. So that's where I started from. So when I started shooting more footage, all I had were the musical interludes. So about 20 songs to pick from. And I kind of chose the songs that I thought were most evocative of specific moods, or could imply, you know, a sort of character arc, or, you know, had a little deeper, you know, emotive potential than, you know, some songs are more, you know, there's the syrupy ballads, and then there's, you know, what condition my condition was in, you know, which, when my dad's singing that in the middle of an empty showroom, it means something completely different than when Kenny Rogers sang it. So, or maybe it doesn't, but I thought it did. So I started, you know, pairing. That's my brother singing. Oh. That's not my father. My father has a much better voice than that. He stuck his way into the project eventually. But I started sort of pairing images and video vignettes with the songs, and eventually sort of arrived at this sort of 6-part. The only kind of literary analogy I can come up with is a poem, because it's not a traditional narrative. There's no definite plot line, but there are recurring characters and recurring environments, and there's a few short little stories in it. But this idea that, you know, you could break a larger video into separate parts and let the viewer decide the sequence and the pace and make their own connections.